Hi, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Applying to Grad School Part 2. This session is brought to you by the Student Center in collaboration with a number of our university partners. For those of you who would have joined us for Part 1, we would have looked at the overall process of applying to grad school and what that entails. But this Part 2, we're going to get a little bit more specific, and we're going to hear the information directly from schools, and I'm joined by my colleagues representing institutions from across Canada and the US. We have Casey from Oregon State University. Hi, Casey. Good evening. Nice to have you. We are also
great to be here.
Thank you. We're also joined by Whitney Miller from Illinois State University. Welcome aboard, Whitney. And we have Anita McIntyre from Sheridan College from Toronto in Canada. And last and definitely not least, my good pal, Shalini Jigan from Seneca College. Thank you, colleagues, for joining me this evening as we go through this session, bringing information to students seeking to apply to postgraduate level programs. If you are popping by through Facebook, we welcome your comments or your questions. For those joining us on the Zoom, thank you for taking that extra time for registering. You will be muted for the session, but you can definitely send us your queries through the Q&A and chat options, and we are going to get to those questions right after our presentations. So we're going to start off first with some brief presentations from the individual schools, and then we're going to launch open on the Q&A, and feel free to ask us any questions that you may have. Good evening to everyone. I'm Sheena from the Student Center, your usual face as we bring information about higher education to you on a regular basis. We're going to start off with Casey, who's going to talk to us about Oregon State University. Casey, I'm going to hand right over to you.
Great, thank you so much. And so I have 10 short minutes to tell you about my university. And we're talking about graduate programs today. And so there's a lot of variance between different kinds of graduate programs. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background on my university and what our strengths are, what we really focus on. And then I'd love to answer any questions you have in the Q&A section. So for those of you that aren't familiar with Oregon State University, we're a large public university on the West Coast. We really focus on research and innovation, and we make sure that our students are getting involved in the cutting edge of their field. So just to orient everyone, Oregon is on the west coast of the United States. And so we're right above California, right below Washington. And the city that OSU is located in is called Corvallis. It's what we call in the US a university town or a college town, which means it's a large university. And then the city is kind of built up around it. If you don't know Oregon, let me introduce you. It's an absolutely beautiful place. We have a lot of natural areas as well. And it's a great location to be a student. It makes it very, very productive for both study and for getting to experience American culture. As far as the different kinds of programs that we have, we have over 200 different degrees. And so there's a lot of variance, once again, in the kinds of master's programs we have. And that's both in the fields of study and the kinds of degrees that you can get. So we have a lot of what we call like professional degrees. This would be like a master's of engineering or and this is geared towards kind of like practical experience that is going to give you a leg up in your career. We also have more thesis-based or research-based degrees like Masters of Sciences. Our strongest programs typically lie, like I said, within areas where there's a lot of research and innovation. And so you think about research, you think about the life sciences, earth sciences, social sciences like psychology, or anthropology or political science, policy. We also do a lot of health sciences as well. So if you're interested in a master's of public health or looking at biotechnology, that's another area of strength for OSU. And then innovation is really where our engineering and our business programs shine. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about engineering and business specifically, because they're the largest programs we have on campus. No matter what program you go into, though, like I said, we really want to make sure that you feel like you're getting the tools you need to make the difference in the world that you want to see. And so our students get to work across different departments on research projects and become very comfortable with the terms, the technology, and the terminology that they'll be using in the field. So it's a very practical degree. One example of research that I love to talk about is medical bioadhesives. And so this is a process that OSU is studying where our biology department is working closely with our engineering department. And basically we've studied the lipids, so the fat molecules in a frog's tongue that allow it to be super sticky. And we're able to use that in medical adhesives, so like a bandage. So you can have a bandage that will be incredibly sticky using that alignment of lipids in a frog's tongue. But as soon as you release the force, then it just falls off. So it's a Band-Aid that you don't have to peel off, you don't have to pull off. It's just just basically using the force to adhere. So it's really cool innovations like that that our students are getting involved in. We do about $500 million in research every single year. And why this is important is it's a huge investment from the US government and private companies into our university. This allows us to build new laboratory facilities, to conduct research all around the world. In fact, we have a research station in every single county in Oregon. It also allows us to attract the top faculty. So, this is incredibly important. The faculty relationship with grad students is incredibly important. And so you're going to be working with the leaders in your field that are pioneering their area of study. And then finally, that's invested into the ability to make a real difference. And that's something that we really do is when we look at research, we want to make sure that we're doing the kinds of research that are tackling some of the largest problems that we see in the world right now. So as I mentioned, engineering is our largest department on campus. We're actually the 10th largest engineering program in the entire US and the second largest computer science program. And why that's important is it means there's more options, there's more specialization, there's more of an established relationship with companies like Intel, IBM, HP, who are all located on the West Coast. It also means that we have, like I said, more class choices. So you can really dive into what you're specifically looking at, especially at the master's level. As far as business, we take a very innovative approach as well. And so we want to use the new tools that have become available in the last 5 to 10 years to drive business. And so this is really looking at data analytics and being able to dive into consumer data, into product data, into testing, into supply chain and logistics management to make sure that your business is using that technology and all the information we have out there to maximize its opportunities. And so we're going to make sure that you're getting a very practical experience in our business program, that you're working with real businesses on their issues. So we have businesses come in and they'll actually drop a problem that they're having with maybe their supply chain on our students, and our students will do the research and then be able to present back to them. As I mentioned, it's incredibly important to kind of connect with the department and the faculty. And so this isn't something I can really do during this presentation, but I'd be happy to work with you individually to help you find who in the different departments might be the right contact for you to be able to start establishing that relationship. One thing I will say about grad programs is if you look at most grad programs, the deadline to apply is very far in front of the start of the program. So, start thinking about making those connections now. And then, of course, in the US, we have OPT, optional practical training for anyone who graduates. And that means you can stay from 1 to 3 years and work in your field. And so at OSU, we actually have OPT advisors that work with you from the moment you arrive to begin to build up the skill set, the resume, and the experiences that you'll need to get that OPT position. And this means, support in professional skills. It means helping you network, finding the right opportunities, and then taking care of all of the paperwork and the logistics of applying for optional practical training. But more than that, we also want to make sure that international students have everything they need to be successful. And so that we really pride ourselves on the level of support that we provide for international students. And that's everything from kind of the pre-arrival support to make sure that you're ready to start your classes on day one. You get that orientation. We'll pick you up at the airport. Events and activities to get to experience Corvallis, Oregon, and the U.S. culture. And then also that academic and social support to make sure that you're getting to meet people from all around the world and that you're successful in your program. So really quickly, it kind of depends on your program, but typically a year at OSU costs about $50,000, including tuition fees, housing on campus, health insurance, books, supplies. So basically this is all inclusive. And we do have scholarship opportunities for international students as well. It kind of depends on the program that you're in. The nice thing is some of our programs, if you do well the first year, you're actually able to get a scholarship for your second year as well. And then we do have some GTA, teaching assistantships and research assistantships that allow students to get financial support in some of the departments as well. So once again, would be happy to talk to you individually about that. So that's about it. Like I said, I hope this is just the start of the conversation. Please leave any questions that you have, and feel free to contact me afterwards so that we can follow up and I can talk directly about your program. And with that, I'll hand back.
Thank you, Casey. And Casey, if you don't mind, putting your email address into the chat for those joining us on the Zoom if they want to connect with you individually. And we're going to move quickly on to Whitney from Illinois State University. Whitney, I'm going to hand the floor over to you.
Thank you. Let me just pull up my presentation here quickly. Go. Okay, can you see my screen? Awesome,
Yes.
Thank you. So welcome everyone. Like was said, my name is Whitney Miller and I work here at Illinois State University. To give you an idea of our location, we are located in Bloomington-Normal, Illinois. We're about 2 hours from Chicago and about 2.5 hours from St. Louis. You will hear me say this a few times, but location is very important when you're considering what school to choose. So I personally really love it here in Bloomington-Normal. And I think that our location offers students, especially graduate students, a lot of benefits. It is a very affordable, very, very safe location to study. And you're further outside of those big cities. So again, it's very affordable, but then you have access to these major cities, which allows you to have those same internship and job opportunities that you would if you're smack dab in the middle of a big city. To get back and forth between these two major cities from our campus is very easy. Just a 5-minute walk from our campus, you'll find our train station, which will take you directly to downtown Chicago or directly to downtown St. Louis. That train then, of course, branches out all over the United States, but very, very convenient to get back and forth between all the major cities. And like I said, you do have access to these major corporations, similar to if you were living in the middle of Chicago. Here in Bloomington-Normal, we have 2 Fortune 500 corporate headquarters that are located within a 10 to 15-minute drive of our campus, and a new major electronic car dealership that's actively recruiting our students as well. But then many of our students do internships and move their career up to Chicago once they graduate. And Illinois has the 4th most Fortune 500 corporate headquarters in the entire United States, thanks of course to Chicago, which is the 3rd largest city. And of course, to help students get these internship, get these job opportunities, we have 65 individual internship coordinators across campus in every department who can help answer questions, review resumes, write cover letters, but also guide you to the companies that will help develop your career and that you might be really interested in, and weekly send internship opportunities to you. And then, of course, that helps with the job search once you graduate. And we also have our career services on campus who really are there to support students in developing resumes for that specific industry. Because if you want to work in education, your resume will look different than if you're an engineer, than if you work in computer sciences, etc. So really adopting your resume and your cover letter for that industry is what our Career Center specializes in and is here to help students with. And like I said, I will repeat it again, location is very important, but the cost of living here in Bloomington-Normal is very, very affordable. Students can find rent from around $500 to $600 per month very, very easily. That's the average for our students. But you can easily find a room with roommates for $300 a month. Or if you want to, very much on the top end, we do have luxury housing here as well. So I wanted to focus on 3 or 4 of the programs that are most popular with our master's students who are looking to study here. First two are going to be in our College of Information Technology. And this college on campus is rated number 38 best in the United States in IT back in 2019. And of course, we are ABET accredited in our computer sciences. So the first option for you is our Master of Science in Computer Science. This program is brand new, beginning in the fall of 2021. And this program is going to be focused more on those technical skills developing in computer sciences. Also, in this department, we have our Masters of Information Systems. This program has been well established for a very long time, but focuses somewhat on those technical skills, but then mainly on management of the information systems and IT world. So you're still getting those technical skills. This degree is slightly longer, slightly more in depth, and really gives you those managerial skills as well. The career outcomes for both of these are very good in the United States. For a professional who has a master's of computer science, the 2020 average pay was over $100,000. So very good job outlook. Of course, growing industry, IT always will be. And you can see some of the job titles that our past students have gotten from this degree. Same kind of thing with information systems. Information systems can cover a wide variety of programs. So I just chose one here. But for an information systems manager from the U.S. Department of U.S. Bureau of Employment, this specific job title had an average salary of about $143,000. Again, that same projected growth, a little bit more than computer sciences, but similar overall curriculum, but because it has that managerial aspect, making slightly more potentially. The next area that my school does very, very well in is going to be our College of Business. So we have our MBA program that is really popular with our international students. We are AACSB accredited in both business and accounting. Rated number 140 best part-time MBA in the United States. And we are 42% international in this past year. What that means is when you are in the classroom, you will be sitting and working and collaborating with students and faculty from around the world and really giving you those business perspectives that will give you intercultural competencies and allow you to progress in your degree and really work globally as a professional. The cool thing about our MBA, or maybe one of the best parts for students, I should say, is the cost of tuition and fees for this program is very affordable. $33,000 overall. And you'll find that all of our tuition here at Illinois State for our master's students is very affordable. And you can complete this in about 1.5 to 2 years. 36 credit hour program, meaning you'll have 9 core courses that everyone takes. And then with those elective courses at the end, similar to most MBAs, you can choose what you want to do with those electives. Most popular is our graduate certificates that are designed to fit within the MBA. So in the same amount of money, in the same amount of time, you are able to graduate with both an MBA certificate and a graduate certificate. Last area I wanted to speak about is our Department of Technology. I will say Illinois State University, we excel very much in the business world and the technology world, both in IT and this area. This department is a little bit different from our IT programs because it focuses much more on the business world, the technology that exists, but manufacturing. So you can see in the master's level, we have concentrations in project management and quality management and analytics. So you're looking a lot more at the production of products in this degree, very closely tied with Caterpillar and many of the major production companies here in the state of Illinois. if you look at job descriptions, project management is highly sought after right now in the job market. So if you're concentrating in our project management, you're focusing on that project management skills and developing those skills that lead to the project management certification. Similarly, then for project managers, very, very good salary outlooks, a lot of growth in the job market in this area. So great for engineers, IT, many different areas. Quality management and analytics is the other side of this. Again, focusing a lot on those numbers, data, the quality of the production of these companies. And similarly, great career aspects for this. So very, very quickly, admissions, tuition, and funding. Every single master's program you look at will have slightly different admissions. So work with your educational counselors, please contact me, and we can look at what exactly you need for your master's programs. But generally around a 3.0 GPA on a 4.0 scale. And we will, of course, need language scores if you are not from an Anglophone country. If your country has English as a first language, we do not need those scores. Illinois State University is very good at allowing students to change majors too. So if you are interested in a master's in computer science, but you have a background in business, or maybe your bachelor's degree was in the art, for example, we do have a lot of non-background paths that you can enter to. So if you're concerned about your degree and changing that at the master's level, that's something that we can help you with here. Tuition, I mentioned before, very affordable for all of our master's programs. You can see here approximate costs for full programs. So our master's in computer science is right around $30,000 for the full program, $15,000 per year for 2 years, around that cost. And finally, for funding, we do have some scholarships for graduate students. Not many, but the reason for that is because we have really amazing graduate assistantship opportunities. And if you are eligible for these, they cover 100% tuition for the semester of appointment, and you would get paid for your hours worked in this GA position. So theoretically possible to get a full degree, but keep in mind that you do have to apply separately for these opportunities. They're not guaranteed. But if you do get them, they're really amazing opportunities that can help with that funding. If you do have questions, please type those in the chat or connect with me later. I'll make sure to type my email into the chat as well so you have it. And with that, I will hand it back over. Thank you.
Thank you, Whitney, for that very comprehensive presentation. Some very interesting features that you would have highlighted. So I hope that we can get more into those in the Q&A section. If you don't mind putting your information also in the chat, similar to Casey, and persons that are in the Zoom, you can take advantage of connecting with both Whitney and Casey. Now we're going to go further up north. And before I do, I just want to apologize for the absence of Sterling. They won't be making it on board this evening, but hopefully we can catch them again in one of our other monthly sessions. So that's apologies for that. We're going to go up to Canada, and we're going to start with Anita from Sheridan College, who's going to talk to us about postgraduate options. I'm handing it over to you, Anita.
Great, thank you, Sheena. I'm just going to share my screen here. Can you see my screen okay? Perfect. Here we go. So a little bit about Sheridan and our location. Sheridan College does have 3 campuses, and we're located in a city called Oakville, Mississauga, and Brampton. All of 3 campuses are part of what we call the Greater Toronto Area, or you might know for the short form, we call it GTA. Our campuses are approximately 20 to 30 minutes by car from the Toronto Pearson Airport and from each other. So again, nice and close. Our campuses are surrounded with a lot of facilities, businesses in the areas. So it's a great place to go to school, live. If you kind of like more of that downtown life, we're not located right downtown, but we're very close where you can, hop on a train and be there in about a half an hour or so. A little bit about our demographics. We have just about 25,000 students between our three campuses. We have just over 7,500 international students coming from over 100 different countries. So as you know, Canada is very diverse, and so is our student population. As for the credentials, we offer 4-year bachelor degrees, 3-year advanced diplomas, 2-year diplomas, 1-year certificate programs, and 1-year graduate certificates, or some people know the term more as postgraduate. And that's what we're going to be focusing a little bit more on with today's presentation. At Sheridan, we offer over 110 different programs for you to choose from, and they range from the following faculties. So we have a faculty of animation arts and design, a faculty of science and technology, business, health and community studies, and humanities and social sciences. We have specialized labs and studios for many of our programs. Therefore, certain programs are only offered at certain campuses. Sometimes choosing your program will determine which campus you'll be attending. At Sheridan, we have 24 graduate certificate programs, and of course, ranging in the wide variety of the faculties I had just mentioned. All of our graduate certificate programs are 1 year in duration. And basically, we're looking to see that you have your undergraduate diploma or degree to be eligible for these 1-year graduate certificate programs. So I've just kind of laid out some of the programs here and then on the next slide as well. Now, for these postgraduate programs, I would say majority of them have what's called a co-op, or sometimes we call it an internship, or a field placement. So I would say it's some sort of work component that's integrated into the program. So for programs that have a co-op or an internship component, it is 2 years of academic study, and then the third term would be your actual work term. So what's kind of nice about our graduate certificate programs is that the work term is separate from your studies. So you're not trying to juggle schoolwork and working at the same time. So you would have a whole semester, which is approximately 14 weeks, where you are working office, and you would have a co-op advisor specific to your program that is there to help you obtain that work, that co-op work. So you don't have to worry about being new to a country, not knowing where to begin. Your co-op advisor will assist you with that. Usually this semester before, they will go over what the expectations are at co-op, how to do a proper resume, cover letter, interview skills, and really prepare you. And they usually provide students with a list of companies that usually continually hire students at Sheridan for that specific program. So you're not starting with a clean slate, you're starting with companies that are very familiar with our specific graduate certificate programs. So what's new this September, this fall 2021, is we have developed 2-year graduate certificate bundles. So international students can now apply for 2 consecutive graduate certificate programs at one time to create a 2-year graduate certificate bundle. So what the benefits of that is it's an easy application where you are applying once for 2 programs. So another advantage is that you may qualify for a postgraduate work permit for up to 3 years. So for those of you who may or may not be familiar, in Canada, when you come to study on a study permit, Upon graduation, you are eligible to apply for what's called a postgraduate work permit. So our graduate certificate programs are 1 year in duration. So students are only eligible for up to a 1 year postgrad work permit upon completion of a graduate certificate program. Doing this bundle, you are doing 2 graduate certificates back to back, which will then allow you to apply for the maximum 3-year work permit. So international students starting, these bundles are starting in fall 2021, and we have a $2,000 scholarship where $500 will be awarded in each term. Now, what those bundles are, they are specific to these programs. So it's advertising, account management starting in the fall, and then marketing management, business analysis, process management, followed by marketing management. So marketing management is always the second program. The first programs are the ones that vary. So creative industries management, international business management, and project management. So what that looks like is you would do in fall, you would do your first semester, and I just picked a program, so project management. In the winter, you would do your second term. In the summer, you would start your second program, term 1, and then term 2 in the fall, and then you would do your co-op work term at the end. With regards to applying, our admission requirements do vary by program. Specifically for our graduate certificate programs, we are looking at your undergraduate. So we are looking at your university or college transcripts. Every graduate certificate program will have a slightly different GPA requirement. I would say on average, you're probably looking at approximately a 3.0 GPA for entrance into these programs. With regards to how to apply, we do everything online. So we have an online application form. There's an application fee of $100 Canadian to apply. You would then receive your student ID, username and password. You're able to upload your university or college transcripts. We do not require any originals to be mailed to us, so it's all uploaded. And then, of course, we send out our offers electronically as well. With regards to cost, it does vary depending on programs. I would say the average for our graduate certificate programs is probably approximately 20,000 Canadian. Residence is approximately 8,000. Books and supplies could vary by program. And all new international students beginning their studies in September or January will receive a $1,000 entrance scholarship. So those of you who are looking to apply to just one graduate certificate program, we are offering this $1,000 entrance scholarship. And if you're looking at the bundle, then it is a $2,000 entrance scholarship. So this is my contact information, which I will also put in the chat. And I look forward to answering any questions that you may have at the end of all the presentations. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita, for that presentation. And then we're going to move on quickly over to Shalini. Shalini, you are up.
Thank you, Sheena. So I am just going to share my screen. So just let me know if you can see my presentation. Can you see it? All right, perfect. Okay, so we're going to jump straight into it. So hello, everyone. My name is Shalini Jagan. I am the Regional Business Development Manager at Seneca for the Caribbean. And to touch very quickly, high level about Seneca, we are one of the largest colleges in Canada. We are based in Toronto. So we have 7 campuses in and around Toronto. We have just over 30,000 full-time students with over 12,000 international students coming from 170 countries. So diversity is very huge at Seneca. You will see that when you come in terms of the student population. For the purpose of this this presentation today, I will be speaking about our postgraduate certificates. We offer just over 40 postgraduate certificates currently, but we also offer bachelor degrees, diplomas, advanced diplomas, and certificate programs as well. And to reiterate what Anita had said earlier, so as an international student coming to Canada, immigration law allows international students the opportunity to be eligible to apply for a postgraduate work permit upon graduation of your program. So that means that if you choose to study a 2-year program, you may be eligible to apply for a 2-year postgraduate work permit, after which you could have the possibility of obtaining or applying for your permanent residence status. There are conditions that apply for that, so please keep that in mind. Note that the maximum a student can be eligible for a postgraduate work permit is a total of up to 3 years. So even if you do a 2-year program, or if you do a 4-year bachelor program, sorry, you will only be eligible for a 3-year postgrad work permit. Speaking about experiential learning, so approximately 70% of programs at Seneca offer some sort of work integrated learning component. We call it work experience, co-op, work term, field placement, internships. There are a lot of different names for it. And what it does is it gives you real life work experience as an international student here in Canada. Now, some of these positions could be paid or unpaid depending on the individual opportunity. And to know whether or not your program will have a work experience component, I will just play a small video here. And this is an example of what our programs would look like. If you see the work experience component section when you search the program on our website, it tells you the year, like when you start, and what term the work term or co-op will be in your specific program. If you do not see that work experience component, then it means that your program will not have the co-op. Also available on our website, you can see the eligibility requirements for the work permit, for the co-op, sorry, and when you can specifically apply for that in your program. We also have a dedicated work integrated learning coordinator for each one of our programs who will work with you, assist you in getting your co-op letter if that's something that you need. And then also establishing that connection with you and your co-op opportunity and any questions that you will have in preparation for co-op. So that individual will be listed on the website as well if you need that information. So at Seneca, we have well over 500 plus partnerships with employers in industry. Keep in mind that your specific employer opportunity will depend on the industry that you're associated with, your employer, your program, and your availability. So these are just some examples of the companies that are currently partnered with Seneca, but by no means are they limited to what you see currently on the page. So getting into the nitty-gritty of the postgraduate certificates that we offer at Seneca, our postgrad certificates are can be either 1 year or 2 years in length. We would have intakes based on the program, of course, either September, January, or May. The average annual tuition cost for our programs range between 15,000 Canadian to 17,000 Canadian. And the admission requirements, we require successful completion of a post-secondary degree or diploma with minimum grades of 50%. So that's a bachelor's degree or an undergrad degree or a diploma. Now, just a side note as well, I know I spoke about co-ops, visas. So if you are applying for your, if you have identified that you have a co-op in your specific program, you may choose to apply for your co-op work permit while you, at the same time you apply for your study visa, and you can use your letter of acceptance to submit that application. If you did not submit it, then you can speak with your co-op coordinator who will assist you with getting a letter in order to obtain your co-op work permit. For those of you who are choosing to do 2 programs, which I will speak about in a bit, if you choose a 2-year program, there is an eligibility, or you may be eligible for a postgrad work permit of up to 3 years, but that is the decision of IRCC. There's no guarantee of that. There is a possibility. Now, when we talk about postgrad certificates, the ideal person that we're looking for would be professionals with between 2 to 5 years experience in the subject area. So if you are a mature student or individual who has already completed some sort of graduate or undergrad program and have been in workforce for a number of years, you may want to look at how you can broaden your skill sets, expand on your education, and just further your knowledge. And this is an opportunity, an ideal opportunity for you to do so. So to touch quickly on the areas of study that we provide, and this is specifically to postgraduate certificates that I'm speaking of at Seneca. We have aviation, business, creative arts and animation. In terms of our largest programs, it's the School of Business, Hospitality and Tourism, and Information Technology. So I'll touch more on the top business programs and just some things to keep in mind when you're doing your research. So we offer programs such as brand management, a postgraduate certificate in that, business analytics, financial technology, international business management, social media, sustainable business management. For those individuals who are interested but you're not sure where to start, especially given the COVID-19 pandemic, I encourage you to look at these programs and see where you can either, find programs that will, combine with your existing skills and complement what you currently have, especially as a mature student, or to even specialize in that. So for those of you who may have a background in marketing, then why not look at something in social media, right? If you are in banking, for example, the future is in technology, and you would want to know, okay, to build on those skill sets, why not look at financial technology? So you're combining 2 different fields and making the best of it. In terms of information technology, we also have the business information technology, cybersecurity and threat management, project management and information technology, hospitality, tourism. We have several programs in that field as well. And then these are, I call them notable mentions. So for those of you who are into creative arts and animation, we have 3D animation, game art and animation, visual effects for film and television, mental health intervention, and infant and early child mental health. And these are all postgraduate certificates. Coming soon, we have cloud architecture and administration that will be available for students to register in January 2022. And keep an eye out for programs because we are always including new programs based on industry and employer demand. Similar to what Anita mentioned in terms of the bundle grad certificates, so you also have that opportunity with Seneca College. So as she mentioned, it allows you to apply for 2 graduate certificates in 1 application. Now, the benefit of that is that you just need to submit 1 application. It would allow you to submit 1 combined letter of acceptance, which will indicate the full duration of your program of study when you submit your study permit. And that, as I mentioned earlier in my presentation, based on the duration of your study in Canada, will determine your eligibility for the length of your postgraduate work permit. It also allows you to plan ahead. And with Seneca, you have the option to apply for 3 bundles in 1 application. So you pay an application fee of $90, but you have the opportunity to apply for 3 of these bundles. Now, we do not dictate which programs you need to bundle. That's completely up to you and up to your choice. I will recommend, especially as mature students, that you speak to an advisor, you get in contact with me if you're having difficulty figuring out which programs to bundle, or simply just which programs to choose given your history, your education, your past work experience. I would be happy to assist with that as well. In terms of our application process, just to touch really quickly, so you submit your application online. All of your documents can be submitted directly into our application portal. Within 24 hours, we will receive your application, and it typically takes, I say 1 to 2 weeks, but you will hear from us no later than 1 week with a decision for your letter of acceptance, as well as your invoice for payment. You would typically have 1 month from the date on your letter of acceptance in order to pay your fees. And if you need additional time, please feel free to reach out to me. I am happy to provide an extension on that. When you pay your fees for your first semester, we will send you a payment receipt. It is at that time you use your payment receipt as well as your letter of acceptance to submit your visa application, and then you can follow up with us in terms of preparing your move and travel to Seneca. And last but not least, so Seneca has multiple funding opportunities for students, especially international Caribbean students who are interested in coming to study at Seneca. So we recently implemented the Jane Fund, which is a $12 million investment that is dedicated to supporting diversity and inclusion. So as part of this, we will be implementing various diversity scholarships for international students, and there will be more about that on our website. Throughout the year as well, we also offer other multiple scholarships and bursaries. This is based on program and academic requirement. This is for more detail on this, it's linked on our scholarships page on our website. And then we also have renewable entrance scholarships. So these are scholarships that are based on students' annual GPA as well as full-time status, and it is renewable, meaning that you will get that scholarship or that credit every semester on your student account. This is also linked under the scholarships link on our Seneca College scholarships page. So if you need more information, please check that out, or feel free to reach out to me. And this is my contact information. Feel free to email me. You may call. I also run the Seneca Caribbean Instagram and Facebook page. We provide lots of opportunity in terms of when those scholarships become available. So feel free to like and follow us. And you can also contact me there directly if you need to as well. And I will pass it over to Sheena now. Let me just stop sharing for any questions.
No problem. Thank you, Shalini, for your presentation. We're going to get ready for the Q&A, and we invite everyone, if you have questions, to reach out to us right now and put them in the Q&A or any chat option. I have a question, and this is to the entire panel. So this is a common question we get. So when is the right time for someone to look at pursuing graduate level studies? Quite often persons might think they should go immediately after graduating, or some persons might think later down. When is the best time? Is it strongly encouraged that they should do it right after they graduate, or should they wait? Should they give it more time? So this is open to the panel, so you guys can decide who wants to go first.
I guess I'll take it. So, I really don't think there's a correct answer to that, at least at Oregon State University. It's very individual. And so we don't assume that students are going to come in with work experience. So it's not like you're going to be behind if you're coming directly from an undergraduate program. At the same time, we actually, we love it when we do have students with experiences, because they're able to take that work experience or whatever they did since their bachelor's and bring that into the classroom to help everyone learn from those experiences. So at OSU, you'll really find a mix of students that are, that have taken some time, gotten some professional experience, and are coming back to advance their career with students who are ready to, from the day they graduate from their bachelor's, to jump into a master's program. So, and everyone's going to be able to share those experiences to help the learning environment.
And I will hop in and say that I agree with what Casey said on this area. There are some students, especially some career paths, where you need that master's degree to get the job. So in that aspect, going straight from a bachelor's to a master's is common and possibly recommended. For the United States, accounting is that way, where you might need that master's level to be a professional accountant. In other scenarios, it could be that you are in the workplace, you're in the workforce, and you kind of have hit a ceiling, and you really need something to push you into that next level of management or throughout your career. So some students decide to come back after that. And I've even seen some students who will decide to come back because the job market is not what they're looking for. So getting that master's degree is another thing that you can put on your resume that will help you get that job once you graduate. So there's many different reasons to get a master's degree, and really finding what's right for you and the industry that you go into is the most important thing.
Shalini or Anita?
Yeah, I would agree. We see at Sheridan a very large mix as well. So we do see some who are coming with work experience, some who are coming just after completing their undergrad. It is definitely a personal choice. I think what you bring with you, you're just enriching that classroom experience, whether you're coming straight from your undergrad or you have work experience or you're even changing your field. So really there's no one correct answer. It's just finding what's best for you.
I don't think there's much more to add. My colleagues have touched on it at this point. So I do agree with all of you, and reiterate everything that you said. Yes.
Thank you. I have another question. So this is for the US schools particularly. Do you require all the time standardized tests, for example, GREs or GMATs to matriculate?
Whitney, you want me to go first, or do you want to take it?
You can go first. Go for it.
Okay. So this is very much going to depend on the degree that you're looking for. And so it varies. A lot of our kind of like science or engineering programs do require a GRE or a GMAT. And that's really because we want to make sure our students are going to be successful. We want to make sure that you have the background to be able to be successful in the field. And so it is one way to measure that. Some programs offer work experience they'll accept work experience as in place of that standardized test. So like our Masters of Business Administration, if you have work experience, then we're going to allow you to come in without that standardized GMAT or GRE. But it really does come down to the program, and so happy to talk with anyone individually on that.
And really the same for my school. Every program will be slightly different. So what I recommend doing is looking at the program, seeing what they do require. And if, similar to what Casey said, if you do see that they require a standardized test, such as GRE or GMAT, if you don't have that, don't immediately give up. I'm on my second master's degree and have avoided taking the GRE or GMAT twice now. So there are GMAT waivers, which is how I managed to avoid it the second time. And so every school will do it that slightly differently, but if you're interested in a degree, please feel free to reach out to us. We can help guide you through that process.
Thank you. That's what ran me from the US when I was choosing my master's. So I didn't want to take SATs was enough to scare me. Furthermore, taking anything more advanced. So that's good to know that there are options beyond taking the traditional GREs and GMATs that you can matriculate still. I have a question for the Canadian schools. For persons that are not too familiar with postgraduate certificate programs, what are some of the incentives, especially the Canadian environment for quick qualifications is definitely much different than what employers might look for in the US. So what are some of the strengths you will say, especially for persons now graduating out of with their undergraduate degrees? What are some of the incentives for the postgraduate?
So I would say we do see a lot of students who are coming with their undergrad and they may have not have had any work experience in their undergrad. They may not have had any co-ops or internships or not much work experience. And they find it very challenging to get a job. So we see quite a few undergrad students going into one of our graduate certificates programs, many of them because it's also a very specific field. Many of our programs that have that work experience component. So, we do see some students who have an undergrad degree, and it could be, it could be a major and a minor. It could be, I've done history, I've done literature, but they're really having a hard time securing that job. Where at the colleges in Canada, our graduate certificate programs, or all of our programs really, are very, very career focused. So we don't really have an offer general studies. So they are so specific to a field. So no matter what program you decide to study, it will make sure that you have the skills and the experience that you need to really jump in and start that career. So looking at our KPIs, which is our key performance indicators results that just came in, 87.4% of our students who graduated from a graduate certificate program at Sheridan found a job. So again, it is a area where most students come so they can study, get the skills and experience they need to then secure their job.
So I'll definitely echo what Anita said. The culture in Canada, especially from employers' point of view, is that they focus a lot, not only on the academic, but also on the experiential work as well. What experience do you bring to that role? And what our Canadian colleges offer, Seneca as well, is that hands-on experiential learning. As a Caribbean student, it's difficult, or a Caribbean individual, it's difficult to come to Canada and apply for a job, especially if you already have, the undergrad, the bachelor's, but you don't have that Canadian work experience. So having a 1 year or 2 year postgrad certificate and then obtaining 4 months of Canadian work experience as part of that study not only empowers that student further, but it also, at Seneca, it connects them with employers. So we have throughout the year, we have specific workshops and seminars where we bring in employers to speak with our students to help network with them. And they build that relationship, they build that connection in addition to their co-op. So students have that, that value add when it's time to apply for their jobs and to actually land the job in Canada.
Thank you, guys. I have a question here. Anita, this is for you. What is the minimum CSEC subjects to apply for the Sheridan graduate certificate? It must include math and English. What if you only have English and not math? Can you still apply?
Okay, great question. So for our admission requirements for our undergraduate program, so if you're looking to apply for a diploma or a degree, we're looking at your CSEC. So we're looking at a minimum of 5 CSEC subjects. We need English for all of our programs. Math is strongly recommended. However, for students who may not have a CSEC math, there are still programs that we offer that don't require math. So, I could always let you know, but we have things like early childhood education, social service work. There's quite a few programs that you can still apply to if you don't have the math. Now, for our graduate certificate programs, so our postgraduate programs, those are designed for students who have already completed their undergrad. So we don't need to look at your CSEC results if you're applying for a graduate certificate program, only if you're applying for an undergraduate program.
Thank you, Anita.
Welcome.
I have a question. Shalini, Rayanne is asking, is Seneca specific for only mature students?
No, we have I would say a good mix between mature as well as high school grads. So similar to Sheridan, if you are interested in a certificate or a diploma, you also need to meet the 5 CSEC requirements. Just to echo what she has said as well, we do require English. So if you have CSEC English, that will be sufficient. Not all of our programs require math. But yes, there are some programs that where math is required, it is listed on our website. So we let you know of that ahead of time. For the postgraduate certificate courses, however, if you have that undergraduate, if you for those who have received maybe associate degrees or bachelor's degrees from UE, you do not need to submit like a WES certification, accreditation, or anything like that. You can submit directly a copy of your UE degree or undergrad degree, and you can apply directly with that. But for those students who have just finished CSEC or maybe CAPE, there are tons of programs that are available that you can apply directly with your CSEC results alone.
Thank you, Shalini. I hope that answers your question, Rayanne. I'm back to the US schools, and I have 2 questions that are applicable to both you, Casey and Whitney. The first one would be, can you explain pre-master's programs and how those work? And how would, why would a student take those programs? And then can you also explain a bit more on OPT, because that is not also widely known. So could you, go in on that a little bit more? Thanks.
Casey, do you want to take one and I'll take the other?
Sure. What one do you want? I'll let you choose.
I'll take OPT.
Okay. Yeah. So pre-masters are quite rare in the US. Really, what we do is we have we're looking at a student's background. If a student has a lower GPA or a lower English language score, we have what we call like a pathway, which allows them to get structured support during the first part of their master's program. And this allows them to build up those skill sets to make sure that they're going to be successful. And so typically it means the student's taking a couple of extra courses. And it's going to depend on which graduate program they're looking at. But this would be programs in technical writing. So to make sure that your writing skills are ready for the graduate classroom. Now, the nice thing is that both at ISU and at OSU, you're not just taking those courses, you're also taking master's courses at the same time. So it's really just building in an extra layer of support during your first term or 2 terms or 3 terms. And then there are progression requirements. So you do have to get certain grades to be able to continue into your program. So I'm happy to talk more about that specifically with students, but that's kind of what we call that's what a pre-master's program would look like at OSU or ISU.
Okay, so on to OPT. You'll hear this term thrown around a lot in higher education if you are an international student. OPT stands for Optional Practical Training. And it actually has a counterpart called CPT, which is Curricular Practical Training. Don't worry too much about the names, just remember CPT, OPT. But CPT can be used during your degree in a basic way. It is what allows you to do internships as an international student during your degree. Every school will do this slightly different, but the main regulation that oversees all international students here in the United States is that you get 12 months or 1 year to do this CPT opportunity. And what that will look like is you can, if you're a bachelor student, you can do a 3-month internship over here and a 9-month next year. But you have a maximum of 12 months to do this. Usually you have to be here on a student visa studying for 1 full year before you can use this CPT, which then allows you to work off campus. You can work on campus during your entire degree, just in case we do get those questions as well. OPT, on the other hand, is usually after your degree. In most cases, this will be after your degree, and it allows international students to work while on their student visa after graduation. Most CPT opportunities will be 1 year, but if you are in a STEM designated program, science, technology, engineering, or mathematics, and there are exceptions to this. There are business programs that are STEM designated, for example. Then you would get a year plus an extra 2 years, so 3 years overall to use and work on your student visa.
Thank you. And just a quick follow-up. The CPT, that is not like an application process, or is that automatic once they have a F1 visa?
So similar to anything, you still do have to apply, but it's really more filling out paperwork. You work with your advisors on campus, and once you've found an internship opportunity, they basically fill out the paperwork that says that you are allowed to do this and get paid to do it as well. But you don't have, there's not a huge application that you might not be eligible for. Pretty much once you're here in the United States for a full year on your student visa, you are eligible, and any student would be.
Thank you for clarifying that. I'm going to take, if there are any more questions, we're going to take them now before we just come to a close. This is your time to ask the questions. Here's another question. I think this might, well, this could be for everybody. The work while on a student visa, does the student need to have professional experience already in the field?
Sorry, Sheena, was the question if they wanted to do their work, co-op work, or?
So I guess if you're currently studying, if you're an international student and you're on a student visa, and if you maybe want to work on or off campus, or even after the fact, do you need to have professional experience already?
No, so you don't. So if you want to work, part-time, whether it be on or off campus, you don't have to have work experience. We have many students who, come straight out of high school even and haven't had a job and may work on or off campus. So no work experience is needed if you're looking for a part-time job, or even if you're looking for a job as part of your co-op or internship, it's not needed.
And that's similar to the United States. You don't need work experience in any area to get hired in a position. But with that said, of course, the employers who are hiring you may look at that work experience favorably if you do have it. But that's also the benefit of attending a university, is that we're here to help you get some of that experience you need to get that job. In the United States, the one thing to remember, though, is the job that you get, whether it's during your degree or after your degree, does need to be related to your degree. So if you have a master's in mechanical engineering, you wouldn't be able to work off campus as a cashier at the local grocery store. You'd have to have something directly related to your degree.
And just to add, so in Canada, that's not the case. So it doesn't have to be related. You can work anywhere.
Okay, thank you for that. Anita, another follow-up question for you. Are your graduate certificates being offered online?
So for this fall, so September 2021, we have on our website now which programs are going to be run virtual, so remotely online for the September term, and which ones are going to be hybrid or in class. So it does vary depending on the program. And this is obviously due to COVID. but prior to COVID, we did not have any online courses. It was all in person. So if you're looking for starting in September, just check our website depending on the program that you're interested in studying.
I'm also going to extend this question to everybody else. So I know we're in a COVID still environment, and persons do wonder if they will be able to have some of the courses online. So will it be a hybrid where there are parts online and then you come at some point, or you can completely do it online, or you have to come in person? And then a follow-up to that, y'all can mention it at the same time. I know we've seen some articles about US schools requiring vaccination. So is that a widespread policy, or is that going to vary by institution?
Okay, I'll take that first. So at OSU, we actually have the 5th highest ranked online program. This is outside of COVID in the US. And so we do offer master's programs fully online, whether it's an MBA, a Master's of Science in Business, Computer Science. Because of COVID, we've extended online classes to just about every major for the fall at least. But there isn't necessarily a guarantee that you could do the full degree online as hopefully we come out of this pandemic. And then as far as vaccination requirements at Oregon State University, we do require the vaccine. Any vaccine that's been WHO approved. But at the same time, if you don't have a vaccine, or if you have another vaccine, when you arrive on campus, you can get the vaccine, or you can go through an exemption process if you have a different vaccine than the WHO has approved.
Anyone else want to add?
I can go next. So for Seneca College, we actually, starting September 2021, we will be offering programs in 4 different formats. We have online programs. We have programs that are hybrid, where part of the program, if it's the labs or just a specific project requirement, will be required for the student to come on campus. We also have programs that will be in person. And then we also have flexible. So these are where the program will be taught by the lecturer. Some of the students will be in class, while some of the students will be online. For your specific program, please visit our website at www.senecacollege.ca, and we will have the link for the program formats online. As for the vaccination requirements, so come September 2021, Seneca will require all students who will be coming on campus to have the vaccine. Seneca College is actually a COVID-19 hotspot vaccination clinic. So we have dedicated 2,000 vaccinations, I think it was last month, for students and employees. We will be, increasing that as well. So if you do need it, there is a vaccination clinic on campus that students can get their vaccines as well.
And then for Illinois State University, we are fully expecting to be back in person come this fall. So you will not see as many online offerings as you did in the past year for our university. But for our university, vaccinations are not required currently. So most of our students and faculty will have the vaccination, and the university is tracking this. However, if you do not have a vaccination by the time you arrive, you are required, of course, to follow CDC guidelines, wear a mask on campus, but then you are, of course, eligible for vaccination here in the United States as well. So if you don't have a vaccine when you arrive, you can get one when you are here as a student for free as well. So.
Thank you. So those listening, there are online options in terms of program delivery for most schools. Some might have more limited options than others. Please note that it's really important that you check with schools individually to see about the requirements for the vaccinations. As you can realize already, there are variations among the different schools already on this panel alone. So I do know that there's some persons who have an aversion to taking the vaccinations for their own personal reasons. So it's good to ask these questions. Thank you, guys. We have a couple more questions. This one is for the US schools. Are there any master's degrees in teaching with a technology emphasis?
Our program, our education program on campus is really geared towards teaching in the U.S. And so in the state of Oregon, you need a master's degree to be able to teach. And so it's really geared towards kind of getting that certificate for Oregon. And so I think if students do plan on teaching elsewhere, it's really important that you kind of see what kind of certification process is necessary. And so, yeah, I guess I don't think we have a special emphasis in technology at OSU. And I just, like I said, be careful, make sure that you know where you want to teach so that you're getting the right accreditation.
For my school, we do have a couple options. We do have a Master of Science in Technology with a concentration in STEM education and leadership, which, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, which might be very interesting for you. But also keep in mind that for, at least in the United States, and you'll see this other places in the world as well, depending on what level you would like to teach, you will need different qualifications. So if you want to teach K through 12, that primary and secondary schools, usually you need a teaching certificate and license, as Casey was saying. But if you're looking more at teaching in higher education, so if you want to do computer science or robotics at the master's or in higher education, usually what you would need to do is actually get a PhD in these subject areas. So in that sense, it's more important to get a PhD in the specific thing that you're going to teach rather than a general teaching background, for example. So keep that in mind. But if you'd like to speak more about the opportunities in that STEM teaching and leadership, I'm happy to talk to you.
So Anika, we put Whitney's email inside of the chat. So I definitely do encourage you. I don't know if you want to send her a quick message via the chat option directly to Whitney. You can reach out to find out more and see if you guys can. I know, Whitney, sometimes y'all take appointments maybe outside, maybe schedule a day where you can talk a bit more about that. But this all boils down to our approach with students at this level. You have to think about recognition, you have to think about employability, and you have to think about experience. Those are three factors that you need to use to measure then, what is a good fit for you, what makes sense for you as you go about doing your research for any type of studying that you're going to do. So it's important. And note that across different professions, it will vary according to the jurisdiction you're in. So if you're looking at Canada, their way of handling this will be different. Look at England the same way. In the Caribbean, we have our own system as well. And it varies across different islands as well. So you have to look at the nuances in different industries. So that's really important. So if you use the employability factor, experience factor, and recognition factor to help determine what's the right fit, that will help you go a long way. We have another question. This seems to be open to anybody to answer. So we have someone who's saying, how about if you're stuck between choosing two separate programs to do a master's? How would you know which one is for you?
I'll just speak really briefly about this. I'm sure my colleagues can add some other pieces, but the one nice thing is typically there's a lot of choice within your degree. And so yes, you have to choose a master's to apply for, but you have a lot of choice in what you study and what you focus on, especially at the master's level. And so don't think that, like most fields now are intertwined. And so you're going to have the opportunity to take classes outside of your major to really develop yourself in the area that you want to.
My biggest piece of advice for whoever asked this is do your research. Please do your research. Look at the courses you're taking, read the syllabi, look at where their students are and what jobs those students are in, those titles. Even see if you can talk to some of their current or former students. Talk to the advisors in that department or at that school. See what opportunities there are within each degree. look at the entry requirements, and the more research you do, theoretically, the more one will speak to you. If at the end of all this research, and it should be a lot of research, you still don't know, apply to both. You can do that. You can apply to both. You might get more scholarship for one or the other. So, and if they give you the same amount of scholarship, flip a coin, So, but really the research should speak to you, and you should find one program that you're like, yes, this is the one I want.
I like to stress on the research. It's important to really assess yourself, assess your objectives, assess what you bring to the table at this point, and then also look at what your outcomes are for yourself. And if you do that at the individual level, this will help guide which ones you choose. And sometimes I find that students that are deliberating between more than one program is a sign that you're not fully ready to make that decision, because applying and doing graduate school admissions, there's a level of readiness you need to have, because this is an investment of your time, an investment of your resources as well. So it's not something that you should take lightly. And so I know there's all the advice in the world that you can get, but there's also an innate feeling in yourself where there's one that's tugging you more than the other. And so if you do your due diligence and speak to a professional, I mean, we're all a list of professionals here. This is something that we all do on a daily basis. So it's good to reach out and get the guidance that you need in order to help you make this decision. So you have to first ask yourself, after knowing what steps are required and what is out there, how ready are you to go through this process? So that is definitely some advice.
That's great advice, Sheena. And if I can just add to that as well, no matter the program that you're selecting or you're choosing, focus on, the specific jobs, the job descriptions. A lot of our websites, and my colleagues as well, we've done that research for you, and it's usually linked on the program page. So please pay particular attention to that, to the jobs. If it is programs in, like maybe project management versus IT or business or something to that effect, also pay attention to the industry, see where, how long this program is going to take, and do your research into what that industry will look like if it's 3 or 4 years down the road. In Seneca's case, it's 1 to 2 years. We have seen with the pandemic how these industries change, what new skill sets are required for individuals and professionals to adapt to that specific industry. So pay attention to these things as part of your research. So when my colleague said do in-depth research, absolutely. So that you make, the most informed decision that will have a return on all of this investment that you're doing when you graduate.
Thank you, Shalini. Last question we're going to take is geared towards Sheridan. How long will the offer about the graduate certificate bundle be on for? Is this something that's going to be continuous, or does this have an expiry date?
Okay, great question. Thank you. So we just launched this for the first time, starting this September 2021. I think it's something that we are looking to do again. We started with a small, really our faculty of business, because those are all of our business graduate certificate programs. So I'm anticipating that we will be continuing to do that the following September as well. But this is kind of like our first launch for this September 2021. But like I said, I do anticipate that we would probably even grow it for September 2022.
Thank you, Anita. And right now we're going to sign off of the Facebook Live. So we'd like to thank anyone that would have, those who popped in and looked and peeked and stayed on for a bit. Thank you for joining us on Facebook. We hope that you found the session helpful, and this session will be available soon after Facebook uploads it on the Student Center's Facebook page. So then you can always go back to it and view the whole session if you want. So I'd like to take this time to thank you guys on Facebook for joining us and wishing you a very happy weekend. All right, and now to those in the Zoom. Thank you to everyone who joined us on the Zoom. We really appreciate you taking the time. We know that we're in a virtual world and everything is Zoom and Google Meet or whatever the case is. So we appreciate any time you gave to us today. Thank you to our panelists. Thank you so much, guys. You have been very helpful, informative. We appreciate all the information shared today. We invite anyone to connect directly with the representatives. Their emails are in the chat. We're going to stay on for a little bit. So if you want to scroll through the chat to take their information, you can do so. And this session has been recorded and we will send you a link for you to view the session again, and their information will be there again. And you can then also view this via our official YouTube channel once all the editing is done. So thank you very much, guys. You've been great. Really appreciate you taking your time. Great to see OSU and Illinois. This is our first time seeing you guys on on the platform. So welcome. And Shalini and Anita, you're always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to be online with you guys. So I'm going to just end for the recording purposes, and then we can always say goodbyes afterwards. So good evening to all those in the Zoom. You guys are attendees. You can make your way out of the Zoom. Thank you so much.